All right, so we're going to try this again. I'm going to first turn the volume down on this. So now that's the hand down. Okay. And now this is going to be going over the questions from the USA. You're not looking at it right now, so let me bring that up on the screen. That's not a USA. That's not a USA. That's not a USA. There it is. Here it is right here. Yay! So I'm going to go over these questions, and then I'm going to stop recording, and then we're done for the day after you. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do to see if you watch the video, um, but we'll see. I'm recording this video so that hopefully I don't have to go over this 5 times today, when I can just go over it once and have you guys watch it. So, question number 1. They give you a formula, right, Cha? And let me switch this, and this, and this. Okay. And they want to know what's the temperature if it's 20 degrees Celsius. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this 20 degrees, put it in this little conversion table, or a conversion equation, and you're going to multiply it times 1.8 since they're side by side, and then you're going to add 32. So what is 20 times 1.8? Well, I don't know. And then let me move there's one number after the decimal, so that's 36, and 36 plus 32 is 68. So I would put a 6 here and an 8 here, and I would bubble it in, and my answer is 68 is number 1. If you got that right, good job. And remember, on the USA's, it's going to be like an FSA in terms of the difficulty, and their grading scale is if you make it 50% or greater, so I'm going to put greater than or equal to, then you passed, because these things are pretty difficult. So if your score is greater than or equal to 50%, that is considered passing. 75% or better is considered like outstanding. Number 2, what expressions are equivalent to this? Now this is plural, so there's at least 2 answers, and there's only 2 answers. 8 times the difference of y and 3. So I'm thinking the difference of y and 3 with 8 times that, okay? So this is one of my answers, and then if you do this way, if you actually distribute and you get 8y, and 8 times 3 is 24, I get 8y minus 24, and that is my other answer. The correct answers are C and E, okay? Those are your 2 correct answers for number 2. Number 3. Kieran scored 223 fewer points than Tyler. So Tyler scored more. Tyler scored more. How many more points did Tyler score? 223 more points than Kieran. So if Kieran scored this many, and Tyler scored that many more, then Tyler scored 632 points. Now, I know that's not one of the answers, but what would you use to find that? It would have to be B. If T is Tyler's score and he scored more, how do I know he scored more? Because Kieran scored fewer. And this is the only one, B is the only answer that if I add 223 to both sides and I cross out the twins, I would get this. Okay, I hope that made sense. Number 4, which of the following values for x is true? Well, this is pretty easy because this is an easy one to plug it in and solve. So if I take 2 right here and I substitute it, right beside 4, that means you multiply. And you multiply, you're going to get 8. And that's going to be, is that greater than 10? Well, no. It's less than 10. So that's wrong. And this is smaller than 2, so that's wrong. This is a whole number. I want to do that before the decimal. 4 times 3 is 12. So if I did this, and I multiplied, and I got 4 times 3 is 12. Is 12 greater than 10? Well, definitely. And there's only one correct answer, so it has to be D. So number 4 is that. Yay. Number 5. Select the letter from each column that matches. Now, this looks tricky, but it's just distribution. That's it. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 7 is 35. Bring the plus down. Well, that's this one. And then let me go. This is going to look weird, but you'll see why I'm doing it. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. Bring the plus. 24 plus 32. So that's that one. And then 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12. There's my plus sign. So it is that one. So these, oops, these are my answers. And I hope that made sense. I just distributed. That's all I had to do. It probably seems a lot easier now, doesn't it? Number 6. Oh, that's why that makes sense. Wow. Okay, so this is tricky because of the negatives. So when the temperature is at negative 10.5 and negative 15 degrees, it's freezing. When it's at negative 9.5, it's not freezing. So to do this, the helpful temperatures that are going to help us solve are this one and this one. Okay? So they want to know which statement is true. And since it's negative, you got to be super careful. So think of a number line. This should make it make a lot more sense to you. And this is going all the way to 0, right? So when the temperature, let me do it this way. This is probably going to make more sense. Let me circle. No, I want to switch. Negative 9.5, which is right in between negative 9 and negative 10. This is negative 9.5. And this is not freezing. Now I'm going to go here. This is freezing, and that's negative 10.5. And that is freezing. So this is not the answer. That's a negative 15. We're looking at these two. Which one of these is true? Well, when the temperature is here and colder, it's going to be freezing, okay? And when the temperature, so when the temperature is, you could even say it's this way. Which answer makes the most sense? When the temperature is greater than negative 10, which is over here, or the temperature is less than negative 10, which is over here, it's going to be freezing. Well, obviously it's less than negative 10, which means C is the correct answer. And now I'm going to pause real quick and call my wife. Give me 1 second. Hey, honey. Hey, are you going to pick up the kids today? You're not. We don't have kids. You don't even exist. Am I talking to myself right now? I guess I am. How weird am I? That's so embarrassing. Well, at least I'm not recording so everybody can hear this conversation with myself. Oh, wait. Anyway, moving on. Next. Number 7. What would it be like to kiss a girl? I wonder. Or hold somebody's hand. It must be nice. Especially when your hands are cold, like mine are right now, because it's freezing in here. It's 7 degrees. All right, number 7. Nikki dove into a pool and swam underwater. Good job, Nikki. My older brother's name is Nick. Okay, I'll stop. The table shows how her depth changed during a 4-second time period. Which equation works? That's basically it. Which equation matches the data on the table? And it's as simple as this. Take these two or these two would probably be the easiest because they're whole numbers. So if I take 2 for time, and I make this a 2, does 3 times 2 give me 3? No, it gives me 6. That's not the answer. Let me put it into this one. 2 plus 2 is 4. So D equals, based on C, when time is 2, the distance is 4. Is that what I see right here? No, I see a 3. So that's not the answer. It's either, so it's going to be either B or D. So let me take B and multiply this times 2 and see if I get 3. I do get 3. So that's the answer. Because if I take this number and I put it here, 2 plus 1.5 means D equals 3.5. But this number is not 3.5, it's just 3. And I can also prove it by doing the other. You can do the decimals if you want, but it's easier with the whole numbers. Take a 4, and we said this is the answer. So side by side, we multiply. So if I multiply 1.5 times 4, I should get that number, 6. One number after the decimal, so there's my decimal, and that is 6. That equals 6. So yeah, the answer is B for number 7. Number 8. So this is pretty basic. Um, these are less, so these are the bad answers. See how -4 is over here? You want the number to be 4. So it's either A or C. Now, is X less than 4 or is it greater than 4? Remember, greater means numbers that are bigger than 4. Less is numbers that are smaller, and it's going this direction, so it's definitely A. Number 8 is definitely A. Number 9. So they give you the two masses, okay? One dime. So think of it this way: if a dime weighs, uh, what's the easiest way to communicate this? If a dime, let's say it's just crazy talk. If a dime weighs 2 pounds and you have 8 pounds altogether, how many dimes do you have? Well, you're gonna have. What do you do with these numbers? Do you multiply to get 16? So you have 16 dimes? No, you divide. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So you have a dime of 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds, and 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8. So you would take 8 divided by 2 to get 4 total dimes. Why did I do that when this isn't the question? Well, because you're going to do the same thing. It's the same principle. You're going to use division to solve this. You're going to take the total weight divided by the weight of one dime. And when you solve this, remember, you can't have decimals on the outside number. This outside number cannot be a decimal, so you need to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So you're going to move this 2 places to the right. And that actually gives you 227 here and 4,667 here. So now you're just taking 227 into 4,767. You're going to divide. So this 227 goes into 476. How many times? I think the answer is 2, because 230 times 2 is 260. So 227 times 2 is going to be a little bit less than 260. That's 254. So watch, I'm going to put a 2 here, I'm going to multiply, and then I'm going to subtract, and look what I get. 227, and that goes in once. So there are 21 dimes. And if you got that right, good job, you did great. And if you didn't get that right, then who is your math teacher? Unbelievable. He's probably really stupid and kind of weird. Or, as I like to say, unique. It's more positive. No, but seriously, he's weird. Anyway, number 10. So you start with day 1, 3 cells, and then it multiplies. And day 2, it says it triples. What triples means is times 3. So it triples so that you have 9 on day 2. On day 3, it triples again. So that means times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. And then 27 times 3, and it keeps going. So which one of these numbers, A, B, C, or D, represents that? Well, it's definitely not going to be this or this. Because if at day 3 you have 27 cells, you're not going to decrease. You're going to keep increasing and increasing and increasing. So it's going to be more than 27. It's either going to be A, which is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, or it's going to be B, which is 5 times 5 times 5. And since that's a 3, you only do it 3 times. Well, we're going to keep going. We're going to multiply times 3 and times 3 again. So the answer is definitely A. And we don't even have to keep going and find out exactly what that number is. We just need to know which expression would give us that value, and the answer is A. 4 more. 4 more. And then I can go pick up my non-existent kids. Elena. I used to have a crush on a girl named Elena. She was tall like me and really smart, and you probably don't care. You just want me to be done. Elena's babysitting. So, this is an independent, dependent variable question. And it's pretty basic once you understand what they're looking for. They want to know which one makes the most sense, which one's correct. Remember, she's working this much money. This is how many hours she works. So when she works 8 hours, she makes $40, which is actually a really small amount of money for babysitting. Babysitting, you should be making at least $10, maybe $20 an hour. So this must have been written back in like 1985. But anyway, so dependent, independent. You ask yourself, what comes first? Does the hours that she works come first and then she makes her money? Or does she make her money and then she works those hours? Well, which one makes the most sense? It's obviously the dependent variable. Time, no. the money that she makes is going to depend on how many hours she works. Okay? So the money, let me go back up like I was. The money that she earned is going to be dependent on time. So time is the independent. That's what you're going to start with. How many hours does she work? And once they figure that out, however many hours she works, then she's going to get paid based on the total time. So it's going to be this. The money that she earns is dependent, time is independent. I'm sure most, at least half of you should have gotten this right. This is involving rates, and you're going to be using division. We're not there yet. That's soon. That's coming up. Number 12. Okay, so they want to know, is this graph matching this inequality? This says x, since the mouth is facing, so this is what it looks like. And since the mouth is facing the x, you know x is bigger than 3. So where are the numbers bigger than 3? On the left side or the right side? Are 1 and 2 and 0 bigger than 3? No, definitely. Those are smaller. Those are less than 3, which means the graph needs to be going this way. The other thing to consider, should I fill in the dot? Well, remember, when it's this symbol or this symbol, leave it open. When it's this symbol or this symbol, that is when you're going to fill it in. So since it's this, we're going to leave it just like it looks. We're just going to make it go this way. And so the ray, which is what this is called, should be drawn to the right instead of to the left. The answer is C. Number 13, compare each expression below to that expression. Now, this one's a little bit tricky, but all you need to remember is when you have numbers with the same variables, you can combine like terms. 5 plus 6 plus 3 is 11. Forgive me, that's 14. So 5x plus 6x plus 3x equals 14x. So which one of these expressions equal 14x? Does this equal 14x? Definitely not. Now, if this was an x, it would. 11x plus 3x is 14x. But 11x plus 3 is not, because you can't combine those because those are not like terms. What about this? Well, remember, x is the same as 1x. So that equals 15x. So that is also false. Well, what about the next one? Well, you can distribute 2 times 3x is 6. You know what? You don't have to distribute. I mean, you could. So let me do green one way, blue the other. You can distribute and get 6x. You can distribute and get 8x, and you can add, and you can combine because those are like terms, and you get 14x, and that's true. I said you could do it 2 ways. What's the other way? Well, it's just taking what's in parentheses, getting 7x, and remembering that you cannot add or subtract if they're not like terms, but you can multiply, and that would give you 14x as well, which is why that's true. So for this one, 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 times 3x is 9x. 9x plus 5x can simplify to 14x because those are like terms. That's also true. I'm pretty much sure that the next one's false, but let's check it. 2x plus 1x is 3x. And 3x times 3 is 9x. Oh, and I was wrong. And 9x plus 5x. I was wrong because I thought it would be false, just guessing, but it's true. 9x plus 5x is 14x. And I'm going to do that one more time just to check my work, okay? This is going to give me 3x. 3x times 3 is 9x, and 9x plus 5x is 14x. So yeah, it's true. It's definitely true. Okay. Moving on. Last one. I could take my time with this if that's okay with you guys. And hey, let me tell you about a dream that I had last night before I give you the answer for the last question, and then you guys are done for the whole day. So I had this dream last night where I was giving an assignment, and the students couldn't start on the assignment until I got done talking, which is kind of similar to what's happening right now. You're waiting for me to be done with the story so that I can go over the answers, so that you make sure you get it right, and then you're done for the day, right? Well, in the dream, my students kept getting more and more and more impatient because I kept talking and talking and talking until I actually gave them what they wanted, which was the assignment, so they knew what to do so they can get started. Well, it's kind of similar to what's going on right now, because what's going on right now, even though I'm talking really fast, is you want me to be talking about this stupid dream so that I can just go over the answer, that you can be done if you don't know what the answer is, right? Well, Interesting how sometimes dreams become somebody's reality. So that reminds me of the philosopher Mr. Torment, who liked to torment his students, and he would just talk when they wanted him to shut up, which is just crazy because I feel like I'm in a situation right now where if I would just shut up and go over this problem, which I wouldn't be able to shut up, I'd have to talk about it, but I'll just start talking about the dream of philosophers and I would be talking about the problem, then you guys would be like, okay, then I'm not going to be done, now I can have free time. And yeah, I'm still talking about dreams, I'm still talking about philosophy when I should be talking about math because this is a math class, right? So why am I not talking about math when I'm talking about philosophical ideas that have nothing to do with this question? Well, it's because, like I said earlier, I'm weird. But anyway, number 14, last question. Which graph represents 55 miles per hour, represented by this equation? Oh, and this equation reminds me of the philosopher Aquatius, who liked to say, actually, I just made that up. I don't know what he liked to say. Anyway, last one. Which one represents d equals 55h? So it's actually pretty basic. There are two good answers, and one of them is not going to make sense once you actually look at it. So think of it this way. 55 miles per hour, which means when you drive 1 hour, you've gone 55 miles. You double that. You've gone 2 hours. And I'm going to move this over here. Oh, I said that wrong. I apologize. So if you drive for 1 hour, you've traveled 55 miles, right? So what about when you travel 2 hours? We'll just double that. That's your rate. You double that, 55 times 2, 55 plus 55, it's going to be 110 miles. So I just want to find the graph that's going to show this rate, okay? So let's look at C. 1 hour, 55, that checks. That checks out. What about 2 hours? That's 110. Wait a second. It goes straight. No, that's a bad answer, okay? That's a bad answer. So it's not C. Well, let's look at B. Look at that. See how no matter how many hours you've driven, it stays at 55? Bad answer. Is it A or is it D? Now let's compare. For A, 1 hour across, 55 driven, good. 2 hours across, you're adding 55, that's about 110. That looks good. But D looks really close to that, but look at D. They got the scale backwards. You see how this is? All the numbers here are big. Look at this. This is what this means. This means that this is basically the speed of my love life. Okay, this is what that means. When you've gone 55 hours, you've traveled 1 mile in 55 hours. That is super, super, super slow. Okay, like my love life, very slow. I'll be married by the time you are grandparents. Anyway. So this is definitely reversed. They just got they got the scale wrong. These numbers and these numbers need to be flipped. So you guys can see it one more time. This should be flipped and this should be flipped. And they are right here, which is why this is the answer. And I'm done. Hope that was helpful. 23 minutes, not bad. And you guys have the rest of your class time to yourself well, it depends on what I ask you to do with these answers. Anyway.